Welcome to Bowl na Bowl Kenya Premier League Weekly Review. Today, we are diving into a match that was about so much more than just the 3 points up for grabs. We're talking about history, we're talking about pressure, and we're talking about the end of a long curse. You know, sometimes football really does come down to just one single moment. On January 25th, 2026, one goal, that's all it took, rewrote a story that has been hanging over AFC Leopards for years. This wasn't just a win, folks. This brought a 6-year wait to a dramatic end and completely shook up the title race 9. So what's so special about the number 9? That's how many consecutive league games AFC Leopards had played against Sofapaka without getting a single win. Not one. A tough run that goes all the way back to December of 2020. I mean, that is a huge psychological mountain to climb for any team. So let's unpack that history of frustration a little bit. To really get why this victory felt so massive, you have to understand the pattern that came before it. This wasn't just another fixture on the calendar. This was a battle against the ghosts of past results. Now have a look at this. The 4 meetings right before this big one. What do you see? A draw, another draw, a 0-0 draw, and you guessed it, another draw. It was just this endless cycle of stalemate, a story of Ingwe just not being able to find that final breakthrough against Sofapaka over and over again. That all leads us to this latest matchup, where the backdrop, let me tell you, could not have been more dramatic. These two clubs were on completely opposite paths this season, which just cranked up the stakes for everybody involved. So on one side, you've got Ingwe, and they were absolutely flying. They came into this on a 3-game winning streak, brimming with confidence, with their eyes on the big prize, the league title. And on the other side, Sofapaka, they were coming off a tough loss to Shabana, and they are deep in a scrap to avoid relegation. One team looking up, the other nervously looking down. This league table just says it all, doesn't it? Before the first whistle, Leopards were sitting pretty in second place with 33 points and Sofapaka way down in 17th with only 14. Now on paper, you'd think this would be a walk in the park for Ingwe, but we all know football isn't played on paper, especially when there's a 6-year curse in the air. So how did it finally happen? After years of frustrating draws, how did AFC Leopards finally break through? Let's go back and relive that one single moment that changed everything. Okay, so picture this. The game is locked at 0-0. Deep into the second half, the tension is building, Sofapaka are defending with everything they've got, and Ingwe are just throwing the kitchen sink at them. And then they win a corner. Semo steps up to take it. Semo whips in an absolute peach of a delivery. It sails right into that crowded penalty box. And who rises highest to meet it? None other than the team captain himself, Kichi Othiambo. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? These are the moments that define leaders. The pressure is on, the team is desperate for a hero, and the captain delivers. It was a perfect captain's contribution right when they needed it the most. His powerful header flies into the back of the net. Goal! The deadlock is finally broken. You can just imagine the scenes at Nyayo Stadium. That one header wasn't just a goal. It was the sound of that 6-year curse finally shattering into a million pieces. What a moment! So, after all that excitement, let's talk about what happened next. That goal had some immediate, and I mean massive consequences, not just for these two teams, but for the entire Kenyan Premier League title race. The whole landscape at the top just changed in an instant. Just take a look at this. AFC Leopards jumped to 36 points, and that puts them level with their arch rivals Gor Mahia right at the very top of the league. Meanwhile, Sofapaka still stuck down in 17th, and those relegation fears are only getting bigger. One goal, Two very different stories. So let's just quickly sum up why this all matters so much for Ingwe. This win is a huge psychological boost. They finally got that monkey off their back and proved they are serious title contenders. For Sofapaka, it's another really tough result in what's been a very difficult season. And for the rest of us, well, it sets up an absolutely mouth-watering title race between two of the biggest giants in Kenyan football. So, there you have it. That is the story of how the streak was finally broken. A historic win for AFC Leopards, and it has just completely electrified the KPL title race. But now we really want to hear from you. So, do you think AFC Leopards can go all the way and clinch the league title this year? And what about Sofapaka? Can they manage to survive the drop? What's your take, fan? Leave a comment below. We would like to hear from you. I'm your host, Paul Lashop. This is Bol na Bol, Kenya Premier League Weekly Review. See you on the next one. Bye!